This is a presentation given by South Coast Air Quality Management District on Rule 2305, Warehouse and Direct Source Rule, Warehouse Actions and Investments to Reduce Emissions Program. This is training video number 1, WAIRE Program Overview. This presentation will include an overview and reporting requirements of Rule 2305. There will also be a demo of the WAIRE user calculator. The purpose of Rule 2305 is to reduce local and regional smog-forming emissions associated with warehouses, help meet state and federal air quality standards, and improve public health, especially in communities located near warehouses in the South Coast AQMD. This rule applies to warehouse owners and operators of 100,000 square feet or more of indoor floor space in a single building. This diagram shows a general overview of the requirements for warehouse owners and operators. In addition to reporting requirements, warehouse operators must earn or obtain WAIRE points to meet their Warehouse Points Compliance Obligation, or WPCO, on an annual basis, which I'll go into specifics later on in the tutorial. The WAIRE Points Compliance Obligation, or WPCO, is the number of WAIRE points a warehouse operator must earn or obtain to comply with Rule 2305. The simplified diagram shows how a WPCO is calculated based on the number and type of trucks that enter or exit a warehouse site. The WPCO is calculated by the weighted annual truck trip, or watts, multiplied by the stringency factor and the annual variable. The watts is based on the number of truck trips made to and from the warehouse each year. There will be a separate training video on how to calculate the truck trips. The stringency is set at 0.0025, phased in over 3 years. It is the numerical value that determines the number of WAIRE points each warehouse operator must earn or obtain each year. The annual variable is the phase-in schedule over time based on warehouse size. Once the phase is initiated, the rule requirements increase over a 3-year period. Now we're going to talk about the different ways you can earn WAIRE points. The first way points can be earned would be by completing any combination of actions on the WAIRE menu. Here is a broad overview of the WAIRE menu actions and investments, such as acquiring ZE and NZE trucks, acquiring ZE yard trucks, installing on-site energy systems such as solar. We'll have future tutorial videos focusing on how to implement menu actions on the WAIRE menu. There are also other methods of earning or obtaining WAIRE points. You can complete actions in an approved site-specific custom WAIRE plan or paying an optional mitigation fee of $1,000 per WAIRE point. Also, WAIRE points can be transferred under these limited situations. Excess WAIRE points can be transferred to a warehouse operator's other warehouse. WAIRE points can be transferred between a warehouse owner and operator. Excess WAIRE points can also be banked for future use at that site. Keep in mind, you're able to mix and match any combination of approaches from the items on the WAIRE menu, implementing a custom WAIRE plan, transferring points, or paying the optional mitigation fee to meet your WPCO. Now we're going to get into the reporting requirements. There are 3 types of reporting: Warehouse Operations Notification, or WON, Initial Site Information Report, or the ISIR, and Annual WAIRE Report, the AWR. The WAIRE program will be phased in over time based on warehouse size. Once a phase is initiated, the rule requirements increase over a 3-year period. This table shows the phase-in timeline based on facility size, where operators must meet their WPCO, and also the due dates for the reporting requirements of Rule 2305. For Phase 1 warehouses that are 250,000 square feet or greater, their first compliance period will begin on January 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2022. The ISIR for Phase 1 is due on July 1st, 2022, where they will need to include the past 12 months truck trip data. The AWR is due on January 31st, 2023 for Phase 1 warehouses. The Warehouse Operations Notification, or WON, is the only reporting obligation for warehouse owners under Rule 2305. Warehouse owners are required to submit basic information such as warehouse size, warehouse lessee's contact information, and the lease start and end dates on the WON. This report is due on September 1st, 2021, or if there are any changes after the initial date, such as warehouse renovation or size change, or when there is a new warehouse operator. Only warehouse operators must earn WAIRE points, but owners can opt in if they choose and transfer points to their tenants. There are two reporting requirements for warehouse operators. The first is to submit a one-time initial site information report, or the ISIR, about their operations. And the second is to submit the annual WAIRE report, or the AWR, no later than January 31st after the previous compliance year. Keep in mind, the ISIR is due before the first required AWR and is a one-time report for the first year they're in a building. All the reports will be required to be submitted through the WAIRE program online portal or the WAIRE POP once it's made available online at www.aqmd.gov/WAIRE. The applicable administrative fees must be submitted at the time that the reports or notifications are due. Online training courses on the WAIRE POP tool will be made available to provide guidance to the regulated warehouse owners and operators. There are a few exemptions for smaller warehouse operations. First, in multi-tenant warehouses, any operator who uses less than 50,000 square feet for warehousing activities is not required to earn WAIRE points. Second, any warehouse operator with a WPCO of less than 10 will not be required to earn WAIRE points. An additional exemption is included for rare cases of equipment malfunction due to manufacturer or installation defects. However, all the operators are still subjected to limited reporting requirements of Rule 2305. Here is our contact information for the WAIRE program if there are any additional questions regarding compliance with Rule 2305. And please subscribe to our WAIRE program compliance email listserv for any compliance updates. Now we will have a demo on how to use the WAIRE user calculator located on our compliance webpage. This is a presentation given by South Coast Air Quality Management District on Rule 2305, Warehouse Indirect Source Rule, Warehouse Actions and Investments to Reduce Emissions Program. This is a training video on how to use the WAIRE user calculator. The WAIRE user calculator is a great tool for warehouse operators to calculate their WAIRE points compliance obligation, or WPCO, and see how the different implementations of the WAIRE menu items could be used to meet that obligation. First, let's go through some of the functions within the calculator. On the first tab, there is a README section. This tab gives the user an overview of the WAIRE program and a brief description on how to use the calculator. The next tab is the calculator. On the top left corner in yellow is the user input area where the warehouse operator will input data for the facility and the stringency. This is also the time to enter in the facility's truck visits. You're able to select between annual or daily visits from the drop-down menu depending on the facility's truck trip tracking methods. Keep in mind, 2 truck trips or a round trip equals 1 truck visit. Currently, the stringency is set at 0.0025 WAIRE points per watt with a phase-in of 3 years. This means the full stringency of 0.0025 would not be achieved until the 3rd compliance period for each warehouse. On the bottom left, the WPCO will be generated from the user input data. The WPCO is the number of WAIRE points a warehouse operator will need to earn for a 12 months compliance period based on the number of trucks that enter and exit a warehouse's gates. After determining the WPCO, we're going to take a look at the WAIRE menu. A warehouse operator will enter in the quantity or level of implementation in the column outlined in red, which will generate the resulting points towards the WPCO. The number of points earned for every menu action scales up or down depending on the level of implementation of that action. The cells under the WPCO will turn green and read in compliance with a check mark to the right if the total number of WAIRE points are equal to or higher than the WPCO. The same cell will turn red and read not in compliance with an X to the right if not enough WAIRE points were earned from the WAIRE menu. The cell below also shows how many additional WAIRE points are needed. If there is an excess of points, it will show up as number of points banked. Keep in mind, points can only be banked for the next 3 compliance years. On the very right side of the page, you'll also see a table with the WAIRE program stringencies for each compliance year based on the warehouse size phase-in schedule. Now let's go through an example. In this scenario, I'm a warehouse operator in a 175,000 square foot warehouse in the year 2024. The facility is now in their second compliance year, and the stringency is at 0.001675. This is where I'll enter in the number of daily truck visits. Remember, 1 truck visit equals 2 truck trips. This facility has 30 tractors and 15 straight truck visits. Once I enter in all the information, the number of WAIRE points needed for the compliance period shows on the bottom left. The WPCO is 110 in 2024. In this scenario, I'll be replacing one of the old diesel yard truck in January with an electric yard truck, and I'll receive 177 points for the acquisition. Let's assume I used the yard truck consistent with a typical yard truck duty cycle of 2,000 hours each year. But I might have received the yard truck halfway through the year. So I'm going to cut that number by half, and I'll use the yard truck for 1,000 hours in 2024. This will bring the total points to 468. Now this number will be applied to the WPCO on the left over here. This box will show that we're now in compliance, and we would have banked 358 points for the next 3 compliance period. Now let's say we're in the next year, 2025. The stringency is now at 0.025. The WPCO is now at 164. This year, I won't buy another truck, but I will use the yard truck for the 2,000 hours, which will give me a total of 582 points. Once again, this number is applied again to the left, and we would have banked 418 points for the next 3 compliance years. This also means that if the truck visits at this facility doesn't change at year 3 and onward, the WPCO should stay around 164. Any yard truck usage over 564 hours would lead to compliance with this WPCO. This concludes the demonstration of the WAIRE user calculator. The example I provided was just one scenario that a warehouse operator can choose since the WAIRE menu provides flexibility for compliance. Thank you.